Welcome back everybody, I'm Geron Faber, your host, and today I'm going to react to the final part of the top 26 Killer Instinct characters. Now for new updates and content, you can visit the links in the description down below, and let's get started. Enjoy.
Surprised? So was I. Like I mentioned with Maya before, I found myself planning out the characters I was going to main when I finally played the game. Some characters fit me like a glove, while others were a bit too bizarre for my tastes. And with Season 2, Aghanos was one of the characters I was planning to main, but I didn't expect him to be this high on my favorites list. Even though most people see him as one of the weakest characters in the game, I say that you're entitled to your opinion. Heck, he was one of the biggest reasons I wanted to play the game in the first place. Aghanos was a construct of a magical war golem from ancient times. These golems were all built for the purpose of serving anyone under the cause of multiple kingdoms for countless generations, but over time each one had died away. All of them died away except for Aghanos. Aghanos had survived for centuries by replacing all of his broken away parts with anything that he could find. Rocks, vines, you name it, bringing in the elements of nature to have his spirit endure where his body could not. He was originally nothing more than a mindless war machine willing to fight under any civilization, until he came under the command of a certain Babylonian king that gave him the order to think for himself, to think about his life and hope to rise above his mindless killing nature and carve a will of his own. But after Khan-Ra had betrayed the king, he sent Aghanos to serve in one last mission, to either kill or steal away the evil sorcerer. Both combatants have faced each other over millennia with neither being able to destroy the other. And in the present day, only time will tell who the winner is. Now before we get into the gameplay, let's analyze everything else he has going for him. First off, Aghanos has one of the more unique and creative designs in the game. I just can't help it, it looks so good. Second, the Forgotten Grotto is easily my favorite stage in the entire game. The visuals in Stage Ultra are pretty good on their own, but that music. It might be a weird thing to admit, but I just feel so powerful whenever I hear this song. Aghanos has one of the more unique playstyles in the game, not because he's the juggernaut of the cast, but because of his mechanics. Now I'll admit, Aghanos' playstyle is more of an acquired taste than anything. He's really adept at twisting his body into a ball to rush at his opponents and all that good shit. But Aghanos' bread and butter is the way he gathers rocks. He can gather up to 4 at a time, allowing him to take up to 1 hit for each rock. But there's still plenty of other stuff you can do with these rocks. You can sacrifice 1 rock to launch at your opponent for range, or better yet, you can sacrifice 1 rock to erect a wall behind your opponent and wallop them for an extra 20% damage. You can erect up to 4 walls at a time, and if you smack your enemies across all 4, well, your opponent can kiss their butt goodbye. It's insanely difficult to pull off, but words cannot describe how satisfying it is when you smack your enemies past 4 walls at a time. Overall, Aghanos is a very difficult character to master, but if you can get used to his playstyle, then your opponents will be begging for mercy. Every story has to have a villain, the masterminds behind the evil in the world, the ones responsible for all the travesty, the corruptors and manipulators, and Killer Instinct has quite possibly one of the most manipulative and evil villains in video game history. He corrupted Jago's will, manipulated the evil characters of the world, split Idol's head in 2, taken Tusk's memories away, and turned those who were once heroes into puppets that would bend to his will, all to help create a portal big enough for him to escape and claim the world as his own. And if he succeeds, then no one will be able to stand in his way. So yeah, it's safe to say that Gargos is a pretty big deal in the KI story, being completely responsible for everything bad that has happened in the world. Gargos is a species of demigod that has the power to create life in any way they see fit, but because of his misdeeds, he was sealed away for a millennium, but now he's out and ready to show the KI roster who's boss. Gargos' playstyle is interesting. His main coup de grace is his teleport punches. It does exactly as what you think it would do, but its range is ridiculous. He can hit you anywhere on the stage with these punches. Anywhere. Now, unless you're down blocking, then nowhere on the screen are you safe from Gargos' almighty punches. But that's not all that he can do. He has a triple jump that's great for positioning, a grab attack that lets him toss opponents for extended combos, drain their shadow meter, or a shadow attack that even Noob Saibot would have to appreciate. But that's not it. With one shadow bar, Gargos can summon one of 2 of his minions to aid him in battle. These guys can take up to 3 hits before dying, and they're excellent assets for interrupting an opponent's combos or for juggling. But wait, it gets even more ridiculous. His instinct gives him a rock skin that protects him from flinching. The trade-off is that it doesn't last very long, and he can't jump nearly as high as before. He's actually kind of broken now that I think about it. And did I mention that he has a move that protects him from nearly all projectiles? Man, how do you stop this guy? Also, I really hope you like fighting pro Gargos players online, because he starts as a really cheap final boss in the brand new Shadow Lords mode. I'm not kidding when I say that this is one of the cruelest final bosses I've ever faced. But on a more positive note, I really like his music. It sounds so epic and evil at the same time. And on that tangent, his Ultra combo is also really cool to watch, but the beat it has on his original music just hurts my ears. Now I do have a couple questions for you guys. First off, if Gargos is the game's main villain, then why didn't they just release him as the final character instead of Idol? And 2, why the heck did you force us to wait until September to get his own stage? And on top of that, in order to unlock it, you have to go through one of the most blisteringly frustrating game modes ever just to unlock it. Well, I guess it's better than nothing. I'm not really a big fan of Halo, but one of my personal favorite things about the series has always been Arbiter. Now, I can't really say anything about Arbiter in the Halo franchise because I haven't played the games, and I haven't done any research for the sake of spoilers. I know I should have done some research, but you know what? Shut up. Arbiter is a very good pick for players who wish for up-close aggression and range, which for those of you who've seen my Mortal Kombat countdown can tell is my personal forte with fighting games. He slashes fast, and he just looks so cool when he's fighting. But hey, he wouldn't be a guest character if he didn't sneak in any extra toys to mess with. Arbiter comes equipped with sticky grenades and a rifle, because, you know, Halo. The rifle is excellent for extending combos, or for sniping your opponents that aren't smart enough to block. And those grenades are insanely useful. They can stick onto your opponent, and then they'll explode over time. And assuming your opponent's not smart enough to block, they're punished with slight damage, and they'll be susceptible to punishment. But trust me when I say that you do not want to use your weapons all the time. You see, Arbiter may have some fancy weapons, but he also has this thing called limited ammo. You only have a set number of bullets for your rifle, and you can only have 3 grenades at a time. But unlike your rifle, your grenades reload after a few seconds. But if you go all retarded Rambo on your opponent with your fancy gun, you'll be out of bullets for the rest of the fight. Which gives Arbiter a sort of up-close berserker, with some hints of range and a great use of breaking your opponent's defenses. He's also home to my second favorite stage in the entire game. The visuals, all the pretty colors in the background, and oh, that soundtrack! Now how about his Ultra combo? Simply put, by a visual and musical standpoint, it's one of the best Ultras in the entire game. You know, this is actually what got me interested in Halo in the first place. So you know what? I think I'll binge play the Master Chief Collection after this video is on YouTube, and everyone is complaining that Rash should have been higher instead. First world problems. Behold, the final character of Season 2, the Advanced Intelligence Robotics Architecture, or ARIA for short. ARIA was created as a means for bringing humanity a cure for disease and evolving humanity beyond its weaknesses. And while it was a huge success, shortly after her creator passed away, she took over Ultratech and became the well-intended extremist villain of the story. As ARIA's new goal, to paraphrase Ultron, peace of our time. And that's not far from the truth. ARIA is actually a parallel to Marvel villain Ultron, just with a gold feminine body and wings. But unlike Ultron, who wants to destroy humanity because he realizes that humanity has become too comfortable with its lifestyle and has no hope for recovery, while Arya is more willing to grant her father's wish and force humanity to evolve by any means necessary, dragging them kicking and screaming if need be. And while she may not have a psychic and a silver-haired punk on her side, she instead has the likes of Sadira and Cinder as her best soldiers, even though she's more than capable of handling any situation herself. Her playstyle is easily the thing that makes or breaks it for most players. Arya is good at getting in close with her bombs and the shotguns built into her knees, but her main gimmick is her cyber bodies. You can only have one cyber body equipped at a time, and each form grants her new moves and extra benefits. Her default booster body lets her rush down and float for a small period of time. Blade Body gives her a sweet arm blade and increased walking speed, and her base body gives her ranged projectiles. So you're basically getting 3 characters in one, and as a plus, you can switch between bodies anytime you want. But just like Idol, there's a trade-off. Arya has 3 health bars instead of 1. Sounds convenient, right? However, each health bar takes more damage than normal, and you can't recover potential damage unless you switch. And if 1 health bar goes down, that body is gone for the rest of the match. Her instinct is also very risk-reward. You get access to all of her moves at the same time, but all of her health bars will take damage at the same time, and if all 3 bodies die, game over. It's a matter of risk-reward, and playing as Arya can be very stressful. She's difficult but oh so satisfying to play as. But there's only 2 things that keep her from being any higher. For one, I feel that she has the weakest song in the entire game. That's not bad really, but it's far from the best. Second, her stage is a total snooze fest. Compare this to the Arena of Judgment or Tusk stage, where at least there was something visually interesting in the background. Here, a couple of full gores. No, don't worry, keep trying, you'll catch someone's interest one day. But you know what, I can't really complain. Her design is awesome, her voice is cool to listen to, her playstyle works without being intrusive, and her ultra combo is great. And you know what, that's good enough for me. Have I ever mentioned that I'm a sucker for pirates? Oh yeah, now we're hitting the big leagues. Ever since watching all of the Pirates of the Caribbean films on repeat, Wind Waker, and a bunch of other crap like that, pirates have become some of my favorite characters of all time, provided that they were done right. But despite his design saying otherwise, Spinal actually wasn't a pirate when he was alive. It's not well explained in cutscenes, but a quick Google search in the Shadow Lords mode will tell you that he was once a thief hired by Con Ra to steal riches from the Babylonian king. But things didn't go so well for poor Jack Skellington over here, as he was caught, forced to serve the king under the control of the Mask of the Ancients, and forced to burn himself alive. Sheesh, this guy seems to ruin life for everybody, doesn't he? Then after many a millennia had passed, he's finally back to find the Mask of the Ancients to boost his power and take over the world. Backstory aside, Spinal's just a lot of fun to play as. He's really good at getting in close with those teleport attacks and, that. Anyway, one of Spinal's best traits is the floating skulls. By hitting your opponent with one of these, you have just slapped a curse on your opponent. These curses can lock up your opponent's shadow and instinct meters until you get hit once. Thusly, your opponent cannot build up any of their meters while they're being beaten up like a sock puppet. His instinct isn't that fun, but it's definitely one of the more interesting instincts in the game. You get a full reload on skulls, and the skulls can even bounce off walls. Also, that shield of his is broken. Zoners are completely useless because that stupid shield can absorb nearly every projectile in the game. With that shield of his, he can absorb shadow projectiles and even Gargos' teleport punches. Man, if your shield makes you invincible to the cheapest boss fight ever, you're a problem. It was so bad that Spinal was actually the top dog of the tier list until Season 3 came out. While that's no longer the case anymore, he's still pretty high up there. Sheesh, maybe he should get his own Pirates movie. If any of you thought that Sadiro was creepy, then I just have one thing to say about that.
Oh boy.
Now will probably be a good time to change your pants for those of you still sticking around, but for those of you brave souls, let's go ahead and see what Zombie Girl has to offer. Now don't let that remark dissuade you. Hisako is not a zombie technically, she's actually a vengeful spirit called an Onryu. You don't really need to question why, since the whole roster is pretty insane as it is, but I was very amused researching her backstory. Hisako was a teenager living with her family in a hidden village over 500 years prior to the events of the game. But one day while she was out practicing with her Naginata, she ran back to her village only to find out that her village was being attacked by rival shoguns. She fought back with her dad's Naginata in hand and defeated dozens of the intruders before ultimately dying. But her bravery and prowess inspired the villagers to fight back, and after the onslaught, the village created a shrine in her honor and ultimately gave her the name Hisako, Everlasting Child, and the young woman was finally able to rest in peace. That is until 500 years later in the present, and, well, Ultratech happened. Now, raised from the dead, Hisako takes up her spear once more to take Arya down. Now before we get into her playstyle, let me rant for just a second. First off, she's the slowest character, period. I don't know how you guys did it, but you managed to create a character that walks even slower than the main character from Parasite Eve. Number 2, Actually, that's the only thing about Hisako I don't like, and even then you can just dash and jump to cover your ground faster anyway. And while she may be the slowest marathon walker ever, her attacks are anything but. Plain and simple, her attacks are lightning fast, strong, and she even displays some moves that even Kane Highwind would be proud of. Not to mention, her counters are insanely good, making her the Achilles heel for anybody too stupid to rush in blindly. Also, she's considered a good guy in the story. Really? Okay, I won't question it, but maybe you better explain that to Kim Woo even after you just broke every bone inside her body. She's scary, she's fast-ish, her Ultra Combo and song are equally scary and awesome. What more could you ask for? And let me tell you, if she was alive, she would definitely be a real person. If you remember my Mortal Kombat X countdown, then you guessed that this would be no surprise. Even though we already have a bloodthirsty vampire, a werewolf, and a skeleton pirate, an alien with cryokinetic powers would seem like a sin if it wasn't addressed. Man, the only thing that this game is missing is a hydrokinetic. Just like another great fighting game that may or may not need to have a certain purple ninja in it, but I'm getting off track. Glacius is from a race of aliens, also part of some order called the Order of the 88 Decrees, an order hellbent on destroying any civilization that has obtained technologies or powers before they even should. You know, kinda like the Geth Jerk from the Wonderful 101. But due to circumstances, he crash-landed on Earth and was forced to stay and repair his ship. But he quickly realized that Earth had obtained some special technologies that they shouldn't even have, and vows to stop them before it's too late. Before the game even came out on Windows 10, Glacius was the first character that caught my attention as the one character who would be my main, despite his low tier status. He was also the first character I ever picked up and played, let alone the first character I leveled up to 50. Glacius is best for getting in close and smacking opponents into an icy oblivion with his puddle punches, but that's not to say he can't wreck shop from a distance, and I'd say that Glacius is one of the best characters in the game for zoning. Easily the best counter for characters like Sabrewulf and General Rom. His instinct, to me at least, is a bit of a mixed bag. It gives him a special armor that protects him from one hit, and he can even teleport behind his opponent for a sneak attack. I'm not kidding when I say that I found out about this technique by pure accident. And with all that, he has easily one of my favorite character themes and ultra combos in the game. No matter how many times I see it, I'm always in awe. It's the little things that keep you going. One last thing, if the Order of the 88 Decrees thing was real, then does that mean that Glacius is a breakdancer? Oh man, I need to lie down. Here's the top 3 entries for you in the meantime. I bet that most of you bet $10 that Shago will be number 1, right? You just lost $10, didn't you? Now, that's not to say that I don't love this guy at all, but it was very close. Like with most fighting games, it always seems that the evil clones seem to get the most popularity, and frankly, it's no surprise with the case of Shago here. Jago went under some serious training to find himself under the guidance of the Tiger Spirit. But if you guys know the story, then you'll know that it was actually Omen coming to possess Jago and bless the world with the almighty Shadow Jago, who for a while was the cheapest son of a bitch in fighting game history. He was unlockable after going through Kyle difficulty hell, but he was nothing more than just a palette swap with Jago. That is until fans of the game gave out a ton of money for a fundraiser so that way Shago can get his own moveset. Man, this has to be one of the most dedicated fan bases I've ever seen. His moves did look pretty awkward in the fight against him in the Season 1 story mode, but what came out eventually is one of the most badass dark side fighters in gaming history. His fighting style is less clone and more like combination of Omen and Jago. Luckily, we still have a character that's more than fun to play as. His moves are ridiculously fast, they look awesome, and it makes his combos an absolute pleasure to watch. And if the much needed upgrade wasn't all, his instinct stands as one of the best in the game. If you dash past your opponent or hit them with a "Eat your," I'm gonna go this way, then your opponent's shadow bar is at your mercy. By that, it cuts your shadow bar consumption in half by using your own opponent's shadow meter to compensate. Even better, his ultra combo stance is my favorite, hands down. As if that wasn't enough, he's the only character in the game to have his own ultimate. Seriously guys, where the heck are the rest of the ultimates? But I digress. Shago is quite possibly the ultimate package. He's ridiculously fun to play as, his instinct is awesome, his ultra combo is pure ear and eye candy, and he's one of 2 characters in the game to get 2 bonus colors. That says a lot if you ask me, but if it wasn't for the top 2, then he would have easily been the top dog. bring out the cyborg! Oh yeah, this is getting good. If there was ever a character that defined Killer Instinct in terms of design, Fulgore will be a damn good contender. That slick design, those laser blades, that sick ponytail, woo! There's a damn good reason why Fulgore is the mascot of the series. Kinda like Ryu is to Ken Masters. But should we even call Fulgore the Ken of this game? Because I don't think that Ken could pull off the ponytail look. The Fulgore unit was developed as a sort of super soldier for Ultratech, equipped with laser claws and a nuclear reactor core inside of each unit. Wait a minute, a nuclear reactor? That seems kinda like overkill, don't you think? But considering how powerful Fulgore units are, it makes sense that you need something equally as powerful just to turn it on. But wouldn't that mean if a Fulgore was destroyed, it would cause a nuclear explosion that could decimate a country? Wait a minute. If each Fulgore is outfitted with a nuclear core that could power an A-bomb, that would mean that nobody would dare to destroy it out of fear of a nuclear war. Holy crap, the people that designed Fulgore are geniuses! But I better stop talking before this turns into an episode of Game Theory. Fulgore is another well-balanced character like Jago, but Fulgore is a little tougher to get used to because of his teleport and shadow gauge. His teleports let him turn invisible and teleport anywhere on the screen depending on the input. I also feel that Fulgore's ranged abilities are a little better than Jago's. Can't go wrong with Plasma Claws and those sick eye lasers. Eat your heart out, Superman, but his 2 to force is his Shadow Bar. Instead of the usual, Fulgore's Shadow Bar fills up automatically, and it fills up faster or slower depending on your actions. Activate that instinct, however, and his Shadow Bar fills up much faster by default. And if that Shadow Bar hits 100%, you can activate his nuclear laser that spells the words "Holy shit" in bold letters. What keeps him from the top spot is his Ultra. It's still very appealing to the eye, but its beat is very lacking in my eyes. But like I said, there's a good reason why Fulgore is the mascot of the franchise. Praise the mighty nation of Fulgornia. Hey, wait a minute, Fulgornia isn't a real nation. No shit, idiot. I just want to start off by saying thank you guys so much for your dedication to sitting through the biggest countdown I've done yet. It's been a long journey, but it's not over yet. We've covered every character in the game from the best of the best to the champions of the tournament. But if you've ever played this game, then you'll have guessed at number 2 who the number 1 spot will go to. Process of elimination is fun, isn't it? Without further ado, my favorite character in the rebooted Killer Instinct is Cinder.
No. Try me.
Believe me, I tried hard. I tried really hard with this one. But the more I played this game, the more obvious the final outcome for this list was. It was close, but Cinder was the clear choice for me. First off, I love his backstory. Right off the bat, Cinder's backstory seems to have the biggest retcon out of the whole classic roster. Cinder, previously known as Ben Ferris, was a master thief who was hired by people for infiltration and espionage missions for top dollar secrets. But he was eventually caught by Ultratech after being hired on a job for a boatload of cash. Which, surprisingly, it was Ultratech who hired Ben to break into their own facility. This was actually meant to test him to see if he was worthy for Project Cinder. After an admittedly hilarious discussion between Ben Ferris and Arya, Ben agrees and has transformed into the Human Torch of fighting games we all know and love. First of all, that design is completely badass. One of the best in the game if you ask me, and in my opinion, he has one of the best personalities in the game. Seriously, go look up his backstory dialogue. It's hilarious. Cinder has been described as an aerial rushdown character, so if you like jumping, then this might be the guy for you. Being able to rush in and flip kick your opponents into the air is so satisfying. He's not defenseless from a distance, mind you. He has access to pyrobombs that function similarly to Arbiter's sticky grenades. The difference is that you can detonate them remotely. Another thing I love is his fired up ability. When fired up, some of his attacks become stronger, have bigger hitboxes, and it makes his command grab way more useful than normal. However, his instinct lets him stay fired up until the duration of the instinct is up. And that's not all. He can even use a flamethrower technique that can cause a crap ton of potential damage over time. You have no idea how satisfying it is to burn your enemies and then finish them up in less than 20 seconds.
Yo.
Words cannot describe how much fun playing Cinder is until you played him for yourself. But one of the deciding factors for Cinder is that he has my favorite music in the game. Even with the whole roster complete, that fact hasn't changed one bit. And his Ultra Combo stance is one of my personal favorites in terms of music and visual style. It's just cool to watch. Do I even need to explain? Even though Fulgore is technically my best character, and Shadow Jago is some of the most fun I've ever had playing a fighting game, Cinder has everything else going for him and then some. His design is awesome, his personality is hilarious, his backstory, though completely retconned, is interesting, his music kicks serious ass, he's fun to play as, his stage is great, and his ultra combo is awesome. In a crowd of crazy characters, none of them stand out nearly as much as Cinder. And you want to know something? If this is where they stop production on the characters, then I think I will be completely satisfied. But considering that we recently got Kilgore and we have 2 more characters on the way, I don't think this is one hype train that's going to stop anytime soon. Give yourself a gold medal, Iron Galaxy. You have most certainly earned it. I'm the Awesome Yojimbo, and thank you guys so much for joining me, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.
Go. So that was the final part of the top 26 Killer Instinct characters. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Out of the last top 10 that we've just covered, Hisako is my favorite, and this is the bio regarding her character. Hisako is a Japanese Onryo who lived during the Sengoku period of Japan, Onryo being a vengeful spirit. Over 450 years ago, a band of renegade soldiers led a raid on Hisako's village, and her father, a former samurai, is cut down attempting to stop them. In her rage, she takes up his naginata and takes his place, killing many of the enemy troops in the process. Though she too is killed, her sacrifice motivates the other villagers to successfully drive back the invaders. A shrine is erected in her honor, where she is laid to rest. However, in the present, her grave is disturbed by the presence of an organization awakening her spirit, and she ventures forth to seek vengeance on those who disturbed her rest. Nothing more, nothing less can be said. Hisako is awesome. She's terrifying, and her moves are lightning fast. And a word of wisdom for today: Ultra Combo. Have a blessed day further, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.